Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me here today as we get to talk about one of my most favorite subjects, comic books. My name is Jose. I love comic books. I love talking about them. I love sharing them with you. You can follow me on social media. I just post my artwork. I have links in the description below. I own all the work that I show you in print. However, I use digital to share them with you because I find it just so much easier. We're going to be looking at Superman versus Predator from 1997, drawn by one of my favorite artists. Um, Sorry, I almost said David because the writer's David Michelini or Michelini, but it's Alex Maleev is who the artist was. So, um, I truly enjoy his style. Um, David Michelini or Michelini depends. I say Michelini, but some people say Michelini. Um, was the writer for Marvel Iron Man. He had two runs in there with Bob Layton, including the famous Demon in the Bottle story arc, and a lot of Iron Man versus Doctor Doom. So he's the writer of this, and then Alex Maleev at this time, I think he's still rather new. But he would become Brian Bendis's, I think, go-to artist. Um, he had a run with Bendis on Daredevil, on Moon Knight. He went over to DC and they did a special project. I don't remember what it's called. Its name escapes me, but it'll come to it. Anyway, so essentially what this is Superman is going to be taking taking on the Predator here. Um Alex Maleev, like I said, he's I like his style. It's a little bit of Magnola with a little bit of Burn with just bits and pieces, but I really like um the blackness. He spots a lot of blacks, but nowhere near like Mike Mignola. So there's a basically the plot. So it's three issues. Um, Part of what I wanted to do this is I show a lot of Batman, and I don't give as much love to everybody else. I'm hoping I started um I'll be showing John Byrne in Wonder Woman and Mike Deodato also in Wonder Woman. I hope eventually to get to here's the Hand of the Predator. I hope eventually to get to do some Flash and some Green Lantern. I've also done some JLA, but I do a lot of Batman mostly, and this is what I mean by the ink slinging. Just love the black that he spots in. Um, but the best work that DC puts out is always on Batman. That's always their priority. So I end up doing a lot of Batman. Um, See, you can see some John Byrne in it and some Mike Mignola. It's like if John Byrne and Mike Mignola um, drew something, or if Byrne drew it and Mike Mignola, or Mignola, some people say, um, inked it. Just I really do like Maleev very very much. Um, so essentially, Star Labs has an expedition that uncovers an ancient derelict spacecraft in the jungles here in Central America, and Superman investigates the ship and will be afflicted by an alien virus, causing his powers to fluctuate wildly here. I mean, it's just a basically it's an excuse to have Superman meet the Predator is essentially what we're gonna be getting into. So I am going rather quickly. Um, So I have the trade paperback collection that I got at a secondhand bookstore for not very much. I try not to spend a lot on comic books. So I bought the DC and Dark Horse collection. So it's a big book, and it has Batgirl and the character Ghost. It's got a really cool Mike Mignola with James Robinson. They do a Starman, Hellboy, Batman trio type thing. I have those actually on individual issues, but they're also in the collection here. So Predator is always such a cool character, and I remember the first time that they used Batman, and I hope to review that one eventually. That one is drawn by the Kubert brothers, and the writer is actually Dave Gibbons, who's the illustrator on Watchmen. So we're basically here just to see some of that really cool Alex Maleev art. That's actually the main reason that I'm showing you this. Otherwise, if I was to narrate this like as I do with some of the other stuff, we'd be here forever. So, because a lot of these things are a lot of happens here and there. So I do recommend you get this series if you like Alex Maleev. Definitely worth having because his art is just beautiful. I know he now draws mostly digitally, although once in a while you'll see some of his beautiful watercolors. One of the social media sites that I'm in is Pinterest, and I actually have a lot of his work pinned. So, which includes a lot of watercolors that he's done, a lot of sketches, a lot of really cool drawings. So if you get a chance and go and you like Alex Maleev, visit my Pinterest. I have lots and lots of his artwork. I have a lot of different artworks. I have Mignola. Here's issue 2. I have Mignola, and I have John Byrne, Alex Maleev. I have Walter Simonson, who's also one of my favorites. A lot of Jim Lee. So many different artists. So if you get a chance, um, you can visit that. In my social media, I don't post any political comments. All I do is just post my art. So, so yeah, as you can see here, there's a lot of words, a lot of stuff happening. But like I said, I'm just basically here. Um, so the group here was eventually captured by the band of mercenaries that is working for a clandestine scientist, and he plans to use the alien technology to facilitate selective global genocide based on genetic sequence. But the predator eventually is going to show up here, and this is the leader. Um, and eventually we're gonna have Superman, of course, fight the predator. So that's essentially what the story is, in just those that little bit of narration that I did. Um, so it's real cool, just because again you don't see Alex Maleev do a lot of Superman. I love his Daredevil run is truly where I really fell in love with his work. Um, he was also with Bendis when Bendis was working for Todd McFarlane. They were doing Sam and Twitch. I think he did Bendis's last arc. He also did Todd McFarlane's first arc after Bendis left. But Alex Maleev and Bendis are there's a lot of other stuff that they've done together. I think they did one of their Bendis's creator owned projects is with Maleev, um, Scarlet, I believe. So it's really cool stuff. So I like them. Very, I don't know. I love this type of style. It's not all Jim Lee and Mark Silvestri with me. Here the Predator is looking through. And I think he uses not just ink, but I think he uses some charcoal. Because that, or dry brushing. He could be using a dry brush, but I think that's charcoal. Um, I love that. There's just something. I admire so many different artists, mostly for the same thing. It's just their art. I find it so beautiful. And Maleev's art, I find very pleasing. I know that a lot of people, it's if you don't like it, I get it. If you prefer the more polished, because his work is a little bit rough, but I think that's just because of his style. I should say it's his style. His style's a little bit rough, but when he does, you should check out his. If you Google his name, you'll see some of the watercolors that he does. It's beautiful. But I think that a lot of artists that paint, like Bill Sienkiewicz, for example, or David Mack, Simon Bisley, they work rough, and I mean they just take that brush, and so a lot of times you see what appears to be almost messy in a way, just because of how they work in with speed, just basically work quickly with the brush. So Matt Wagner, we're gonna eventually get to the Trinity that he did, and he uses some charcoal in his work too. It just very complimentary. It's part of why I like David Cassidy so much. David Cassidy, of course, has done Captain America, and he's actually has my favorite version of Captain America, and he has done Astonishing X Men and a couple of other things. And he also incorporates not just charcoal, but he really uses the dry brush a lot. And I think that that's a little bit of how that that I like about these kind of artists. Just the experimentation. Matt Wagner, John Cassidy, Alex Maleev. Here again, you can see this. I think this is all charcoal here in the background. And here, I mean, it's just, and you've noticed it here, and he doesn't fill everything with black. Leaves a little bit, kind of like in a way, a hatching per se, but just like, but instead of hatching the entire way, he's just going bam, 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 and just hatching little pieces. I just like these different artists that all have these um, really cool different styles. So, and so here we go to issue number 3. So I said 1997, and I was incorrect. It is from 2001. So that was my mistake. And I have to tell you, with certain artists that I really enjoy, I spend so much time looking at the art and just kind of that I really don't get to read the story. So the story I sort of build sort of through a lot of looking, and I just kind of put it together. But these kinds of stories, per se, like the writing, it's serviceable, but I shouldn't say I don't care, but it doesn't make a difference to me. I prefer, you know, it's just, it might as well be wordless to me because the reason I'm interested is because of Maleev and his beautiful work more than I am interested in the actual story. So, and I'm quite sure this is a good story, but again, it's not the look at this. This is what I mean. Look how rough. That's just gorgeous. I do like the fact that it's Superman teamed up with the Predator. So if you notice, other than the beginning, I think it's because Superman has had that thing, that virus in him, because he hasn't been very super. Just and sometimes when you look at this, you wonder were they rushed, or is that just his style? And I've come to, based on just how much work I've seen, this one does look a little bit rushed. It does look like um, he did try to get this in fast, but his style, um, it matures. Um, it gets uh, just more mature. I guess mature is just the word. I should have just stopped that mature. Um, like I said, go look at his Daredevil, a run with Bendis. Eventually, I will get to it. But right now, I'm in the 80s. So, in fact, in Daredevil, I'm in the 70s because I'm covering Frank Miller's run. If you're wondering if I've covered anything on my channel, you can always just use the search tab on the channel and see if I've covered. Um, I have covered the Mignola Superman issues. I've covering the Walter Simonson Thor run. Eventually, I'm going to cover the Walter Simonson Fantastic Four run. I love Walter Simonson. He's one of my favorites. I'm covering Todd McFarlane's Spider-Man run. I'm going to get to his Hulk run next. Um, I'm going to be getting to John Byrne's Wonder Woman run. He had a decent run in Wonder Woman when he returned to DC. Um, I've covered Jim Lee's Fantastic Four run when he did the Heroes Reborn. He did 6 issues, and I got all 6 issues available. So I've covered quite a bit. A little bit of the early Batmans, a little bit of So give the channel if you sort of enjoy this. I most of the time I do go through the issue, kind of explaining what's going on, but in certain cases, not all of them, we just kind of do this where I'm just going faster than you know your normal thing, just because I'm here so that we can just look at the art. Like I said, more so than the um, story itself. I've also got Grant Morrison's Justice League run, or JLA, and the Justice League International, drawn by Kevin Maguire, who I absolutely adore. There's so many good comics out there. There's just not enough time to get to all of them. Would be cool, but depending on when you see this, I may, like I said, there's the Frank Miller's Daredevil run, which I just, um, it may not still be out there as of this recording because I'm gonna put this out. I have started recording the videos, but I haven't. That actually may not be out there. But there are some. There's the Daredevil where he fights Wolverine is out there, and I think this is the cure for what ails Superman. So there it is. So Alex Maleev in the Superman and Predator, or Superman versus Predator, um, from both DC and Dark Horse from 2001. Hope you enjoyed watching watching this and looking at his beautiful art. Like and subscribe, and thanks for listening.